Drink Kangen makes me feel alive. Kangen has a pH level of 9.5. Kangen is the water I drink. Kangen makes me feel alive. Kangen has a pH level of 9.5.
I don't want wrinkles, I want to keep my skin tight. I'm so acidic, so I better get my body right. Free radicals attacking blood cells on sight. But with Kangen, I know I'm gonna win this fight. That's right, that's right, that's right, that's right, that's right, that's right. With Kangen, I'ma win this fight. That's right, that's right, that's right, that's right, that's right, that's right. With Kangen, I'ma win this fight.
Kangen is the water I drink. Kangen makes me feel alive. Kangen has a pH level of 9.5.
Yeah. When I wake up in the morning, I'll start my day with Kangen. I'll drink half my body weight in ounces with Kangen. I brought in so much acid, now I'm paying the price. So if I change my water, I believe I'll change my life. That's right, that's right, that's right, that's right, that's right, that's right. With Kangen, I'ma win this fight. That's right, that's right, that's right, that's right, that's right, that's right. With Kangen, I'ma win this fight. Yo, when a body is acidic, it creates a welcoming environment for viruses and bacteria to come in and begin to flourish. If a person doesn't do anything about changing the acidic state of the body, the situation can get worse. Viruses and bacteria can mutate into serious illness.
Kangen is the water I drink. Kangen makes me feel alive. Kangen has a pH level of 9.5. Kangen is the water I drink. Kangen makes me feel alive. Kangen has a pH level of 9.5.
Yo, now I need everybody's participation. I need you all to get up out your seats. You, everybody, get up out your seats. We're gonna find out who are our haves and who are our have-nots. Now answer me this. If you
Hi, my name is Samuel. About 1 year ago, I had a heart attack that nearly took my life. Post-surgery, I had a lot of complications because of the pharmaceutical drugs. Number one, I had heart palpitation, very severe one that caused my heart to be very painful and very scary. Number two is breathlessness and a host of other problems. I discovered all these things happen when I just eat a little bit of oily food. The doctor told me that after my surgery that my heart muscles actually, a lot of them are being destroyed. So actually I have quite a weak heart. But I thank God that someone introduced me to this water which is called Kangen. In Japanese, Kangen means a return to origin. So I actually was introduced to this original water. After drinking, on the third week, I suddenly realized that I have no more these heart palpitations as well as breathlessness and a host of other problems. So I was very thankful. So I want to thank the friend who introduced me to this Kangen water. Thank you.
So Dave, I heard you were feeling a little bit better on the water. Can you just tell me what you've noticed, like what has been different for you, like what you were suffering from and what you notice now? You've been on the water for how long?
Today would be day 4, I believe.
It's only 4 days of drinking the water.
Yeah.
If you guys want to see, I'm bringing him these bottles, but he's been drinking just out of the bag, so it's not even fresh from the machine.
Yeah.
You know? Okay, so what have you noticed?
First I noticed that the more I drank, the more dehydrated I felt, you know? And I think that's because I was like detoxing and, but I immediately felt better. I felt like I had more energy and that hasn't stopped. I mean, the energy's still there. But before I started drinking the water, I was tired all the time. I have 2 spinal fusions from my time in the military and my time as an underwater welder, and I have constant skeletal pain from that. The VA had me on all kinds of pills that I stopped taking all of that in December. And that made me feel better mentally, but worse physically, because I basically went to not treating it at all. And in 5 days of being on the water, I have energy, I'm sleeping better, and a lot of the aches and pains that I had on a daily basis are gone.
What kind of aches and pains did you feel on a daily basis?
Like, so I'm a mechanic, so at the end of the day, I come home and I'm just tired physically. Like, because I have a C4 fusion in my neck, my head just feels enormously heavy at the end of the day.
Wow.
Sometimes I even wake up in pain. You know,
It wakes you up because it's so painful, sure.
Yeah, yeah. So, but I haven't really felt, I feel like I got a whole new body. It's
Really?
weird. Yeah, it's weird. It's like,
It's amazing.
yeah,
It shows you the power of the water, right?
yeah. Yeah.
Anything else you've noticed? You sleep better, you
Yeah.
have more energy, you're not as sore throughout the day.
No, I can keep up with my 6-year-old again, you know?
Is he drinking the water too?
He is, but and it's funny too, because I always try to get him to drink more water. He just wants milk all the time, just milk, milk, milk. But he's actually wanting to drink the water, which is a little bit different, yeah. So he's asking me for water.
You know, it's so interesting because kids and pets don't lie.
Yeah.
They have an open mind. They don't have a lot of skepticism that, you know, adults get over the years of being scammed and whatnot. So I notice with my dogs, I'll put out the tap water and the Kangen water, and they always choose the Kangen water once they can smell the chemicals, like the chlorine, because their sense of smell is so much stronger.
I grew up on the south side of Chicago, and the chlorine in the water is insane, and the fluoride. You can, when I go back to Chicago and somebody gives me water, I can taste it, and I grew up drinking that. I can't believe it.
Yeah,
You know?
and kids know too. I have heard that a lot of kids, they don't mind, like they don't want to drink water, but they don't mind drinking the Kangen water.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for
Give
that.
you a little background history on my health. When I was about 15 years old, I was hit by a car. I didn't break any bones, but I got about 150 stitches in my knee, my elbow, and my shoulder. And at that point, I started taking all kind of different pain medications just to be able to get up and down stairs and so forth. Then when I was in the military, I ended up with 2 ruptured discs, which of course automatically with the military, they hand out medicine like candy. So I was on all kind of new pain medicine. Then in 2096, I had my first heart attack. In 2002, I had my second heart attack. Of course, going to the military hospitals, they decided that I needed a lot more medicine, so they gave me a lot more medicine. In 2004, I had a stroke, which put me down for about 6 months. And again, they said that I should take some more medicine, which I did. As a matter of fact, I was carrying around at work a duffel bag full of medicine. And because of the medications, I became so lethargic, I was not doing anything, wasn't exercising, put on a bunch of weight. Also, I developed diabetes and a thing called plantar fasciitis, which for you that don't know, that's basically where your arches are collapsing and severe pain in your feet. So other than that, I was doing great. So I was kind of like a train wreck. My brother called me up and said, listen, I think I found something that might be of help, because what the doctors were going to do, because with the 8 medications I was on for my heart, my stroke, it was not working. My blood pressure was like 180 over 120. My sugar with medication was like 300. Cholesterol was off the chart. So they were talking about giving me some kind of injections to you know, kind of get everything under control. So he called me up and said, you know, I think I found something. So after investigating it and having another heart attack, no, I'm kidding, I didn't, but the price almost did make me have a heart attack. And I'm sure when you hear the price, you're going to think maybe that it's not worth it. But let me tell you, within the first week of drinking this water, my blood pressure dropped from 180 over 120 down to 90 over 50. Now, that is too low. So I called up my brother, and he said, well, I think you're over-medicating yourself. So what I did is I took all my little pills and my little pill cutter, and I cut it in half. Second week, my blood pressure and sugar and everything was down still, so I took all my half pills and cut them into little bitty quarter pills. By the third week, I thought it was pretty stupid to keep taking the pills. So I ended up deciding to quit taking the medication, and I called my brother up, and he said, well, you better call your doctor. I said, right. And what is the doctor going to tell me? And he says, well, I don't know. I said, well, I do. He says, what? And I said, well, probably say I'm going to cause him to miss a few car payments. So he's going to tell me to keep taking the medication, which I'm sure all of you know what I'm talking about. So I told him, I said, look, I've got an appointment with my cardiologist in 6 weeks. I'm going to keep taking my medication like I'm taking it right now, meaning nothing. And I'm going to keep drinking the water. And when I go to the doctor, I'm going to see what the doctor says. So I go to the doctor. I don't tell the doctor that I'm not taking the medication. He runs a full series of tests, everything from triglycerides, cholesterol, you name it. And I go back into his office. He comes in. He's got a little metal flip chart, and he opens it up, looks at the flip chart, and then he looks at me real funny and looks back at the flip chart, and he has a strange look. And I said, well, what's wrong? He says, nothing. I said, well, that's great. He says, well, this doesn't make sense. He says, this looks like the readings of a 20-year-old. I said, wow. I said, well, every time I've been in here, you've always told me to increase my medication. I said, should I increase it, decrease it? You know, tell me what I should do. He said, oh, no, you should keep taking your medicine exactly like you're taking it. I said, are you sure? I said, because my brother's been very concerned. He said, no, I'm positive. I said, well, I'll tell my brother, because 6 weeks ago, I quit taking my medicine. That little man jumped out of his chair and stood over top of me and screamed at me and said, who told you to do that? And I said, you just did. He said, no, I did not. I said, you did. You not only told me, but you told me to tell my brother. And he said, well, that's not what I meant. And I said, well, I don't know what you mean, but I'm not taking the medication. He said, well, if you're not going to follow my advice, then I'm not going to treat you. And he stomped out of the room. That was the last that I've seen of him. And I'm still not looking for him, so thank you.
Hey everyone, Justin Ballard here with Dr. Campa. Teresa's filming,
Yo.
Amy and Darlene's joined us for today's test. We're going to be testing my blood. I've been on the KANGEN water now for a little over 90 days, and I've been really focused on getting my body alkaline, get away from the acidic for my health. And so I'm going to be poking my finger, and I'm going to try to not make this so graphic, but I think if I gotta... I should go a little bit further down.
Yeah, not near the nail bed.
Should probably have you do this, Dr. Campa, but I am going to push through. Did I get it?
No, nothing's coming out.
Nothing's coming out? Alright, let's try this again here. There you go. Okay, so sorry guys, this is only my second time doing the blood test. Is that good?
Let's go a little bit more while we have it.
Now we have to do the test fresh because the blood deteriorates quite rapidly.
Oh, that should be good enough.
That's good? Okay, so we got the top of the slide. And then we have our microscope with the viewer so we can actually have everybody see what's going on. So we'll take the slide off now. This is my last blood test that I did. And so here is my latest one. And let's see, my blood should be looking pretty round if it's alkaline now.
So I think the main part that we're going to be looking for is the
Oh, wow.
viscosity of the blood.
Come check it out.
Let's see.
Oh my goodness.
Wow, that looks cool. It's moving.
That's awesome.
I want to say it looks good.
Right?
There's no clumping.
See, yeah, maybe we got a lot of blood. Maybe we have to, like, we're gonna try to look at more of individual red blood cells. So we need an area that's not as thick.
Probably should have smeared it more, but
Let me try to smear it.
okay. Nothing like live video. If your blood's acidic, it will look pretty rough, but the more alkaline it gets, the more round it looks.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
So now we're able to see individual red blood cells. And the important thing that we've noticed from previous testing is the viscosity of the actual blood. You can see the blood is floating around pretty nicely. You know, there are a couple red blood cells on top of each other, which is going to happen. Your blood is smart and knows when it's not inside of you and is going to try to clump up naturally to, you know, whenever you cut yourself. It's just one of your defense mechanisms. But, you know, we know from medical conditions that blood can sometimes be overzealous in terms of clotting factors, depending on different diseases that may be present. And so we were wondering, you know, what kind of effect does the water have on the red blood cells at the cellular level? So looks like, you know, everything's floating around pretty free. Nothing's clumping up too much like we saw in the first.
Let us see how this type of water affects human blood. The doctor is drawing blood from a patient's finger. Using a special microscope, we shall be able to see the condition of her body from this drop.
These are red blood cells, and they've lost their electrical charge, so they're all stuck together in a formation called a rouleau. Here's a huge symplast. Symplasts are associated with heart disease and arthritis and lung disease and many other conditions that could be coming in the future.
The doctor asks the patient to drink a small amount of structured water. After 12 minutes, the doctor again draws blood from the patient and studies it.
So you can see that the cells then become buoyant, they become slippery, and they have their electrical charge, so they repel each other. That allows them to carry oxygen, and it means that we're changing the pH of the blood back to an aerobic environment rather than an anaerobic environment. I think that's utterly amazing that just drinking water could do that.